Take a deep breath and smell that. It's the aroma of your morning ritual, your energy source, your comfort. It's just coffee, right? Simple, natural. You'd be wrong. Today, I'm going to tell you the darkest secret hidden within your daily cup. This isn't just about where the beans come from. This is about who controls the price, who stays poor, and who gets unfathomably rich, and why it's all intentional. This is the story of a global cartel, a handful of powerful, unseen trading giants who don't just participate in the market. They dictate the survival of entire nations based on the price of a single commodity. By the time you finish this video, when you sip your next cup, you won't taste comfort. You'll taste geopolitical manipulation, financial speculation, and engineered poverty. You pay $5 for your latte. The farmer who grew the beans might see less than 5 cents of that. Where does the other $4.95 go? It doesn't just go to the cafe. It vanishes into the sophisticated, shadowy infrastructure of the world's most powerful commodity trading system. Our journey begins at the moment the beans leave the farm, crossing an invisible line where the laws of nature are replaced by the laws of high finance. Let's begin. What you are about to see will change your morning routine forever. We are told we live in a free market, where supply and demand set the price. If that's true, why is a coffee grower in Central America living in poverty, while global trading houses are posting record profits? Let's go to the source. The farmer. These are often generational growers who pour their lives into producing the highest quality beans. Their entire family's survival depends on the annual harvest price. When you walk into a store, you see hundreds of brands: light roast, dark roast. This creates the illusion of choice and fierce competition. But follow the money backward. The farmer sells the raw, green beans to a small, local intermediary. That local buyer sells to a large national exporter, and that exporter sells to one of the big 4 global trading giants. These 4 or 5 megacorporations control the vast majority, easily 80% of the world's traded coffee volume. They are the bottleneck. They are the gatekeepers. Once the beans are in their hands, the farmer's fate is sealed. The price the farmer receives is dictated not by their effort, quality, or local cost of living, but by the relentless, often speculative, movements of the futures market, controlled miles away in major financial centers. If the commodity price drops, the farmer makes nothing. They cannot hold the beans back. They must sell to pay for fertilizers and debt. This makes them perfectly vulnerable to the cartel's maneuvers. So, how do a handful of companies maintain this absolute control over a market that spans dozens of countries and employs millions of people? They use a weapon far more effective than military force: financial leverage and futures speculation. The true price of your coffee is not set on the farm. It is set in air-conditioned rooms, thousands of miles away, by highly paid traders who have never touched a coffee plant. The global trading giants operate with surgical precision, using the commodity futures market. This market was created to help producers manage risk, but the cartel has turned it into the ultimate tool for risk creation for everyone but themselves. These giants have massive stockpiles of physical coffee. If they want to drive the price down, they can flood the futures market with sell orders, betting that the price will fall. This manufactured uncertainty forces smaller players and, more importantly, the national exporters to lower their physical prices instantly. This panic selling ensures the farmer gets pennies. The cartel has immediate, high-level intelligence on weather patterns, political instability, and shipping bottlenecks, information the small farmer could never access. They use this knowledge to make high-stakes asymmetric bets, always winning the spread between the physical product and the speculative price. Their immense financial power allows them to leverage huge loans to buy and hold massive amounts of inventory during low-price periods. This strategic hoarding reduces available supply, letting them then sell that stock at high profit later, bypassing the entire volatile market they themselves created. This isn't just shrewd business. This is the art of economic warfare, designed to prevent the producing nations from ever accumulating enough capital to build their own processing infrastructure, thus guaranteeing their role as perpetual, low-cost suppliers of raw materials. This manipulation has a direct, devastating result. It creates a state we call engineered poverty. The question isn't why the farmers are poor. The question is, Why is a system designed to keep them poor? If the coffee cartel disappeared tomorrow, would the farmers immediately get rich? Maybe not, but they would finally have the chance to. The current system ensures they never get that chance. Engineered poverty is not an accident. It's a structural necessity for the cartel's profitability. When the commodity price crashes, which the cartel can engineer, the farmer must take out emergency loans to buy next year's seeds and fertilizer. Who issues these loans? Often, local banks tied to the national government, which is, in turn, heavily influenced by the global trading giants who need a reliable, cheap supply. The farmer is trapped in a multi-generational debt cycle. Producing nations are deliberately kept from investing in their own infrastructure, roasting, packaging, and branding. Why? Because if a grower nation started selling a finished, high-value product like roasted coffee instead of a raw commodity like green beans, the cartel's multi-billion-dollar processing and shipping industry would become obsolete. The profit margin would instantly shift back to the source. The cartel spends millions every year lobbying major consumer governments in North America and Europe to ensure trade policies. Tariffs and subsidies favor the importer and processor them over the exporter and grower, the developing nations. This political complicity protects their chokehold on the supply chain. When a coffee farmer cannot afford to send their child to school, that is the literal cost of cheap coffee at your local store. The price is paid in human capital and lost national development. This insatiable hunger for cheap, high-volume production doesn't just crush human dignity. It wages a silent war against the very environment that produces the commodity, turning lush rainforests into ecological disasters. We talk about sustainably grown coffee. But is anything truly sustainable when the entire economic model relies on maximizing cheap volume, even if it destroys the land? The pressure from the cartel for maximum yield at minimum cost has forced a devastating shift in agricultural practices across the globe. Traditionally, high-quality Arabica coffee was grown under a canopy of rainforest trees, which preserved the soil, minimized the need for chemicals, and created vital habitat. The cartel's demand for volume over quality incentivized the destruction of this canopy. Farmers were forced to cut down shade trees to grow sun coffee, a high-yield, low-quality crop that requires massive inputs of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. This transition creates an immediate ecological debt. Pesticides pollute local water sources. The lack of tree roots leads to soil erosion and faster runoff. The cartel doesn't pay for this cleanup. The environmental cost is externalized and absorbed entirely by the poor, local community, and the environment itself. Monoculture, growing only one crop, makes these farms incredibly vulnerable to disease and climate change. When a single frost or blight hits, entire regions are wiped out, ensuring that the farmers become even more dependent on the cartel's emergency funding. The cartel profits from volatility. The growers suffer from catastrophe. The coffee you drink is a product of this destructive ecological exchange. It's time to ask, when does cheap become too expensive for the planet? The global consumer has a conscience. We demanded change, demanding fair trade and ethical sourcing. But did the cartel truly change? Or did they just adapt their marketing to maintain control? We buy the fair trade sticker because we want to feel good, but the cartel sells the sticker because they need you to believe the problem is solved, so they can keep their core operation running smoothly. The rise of consumer awareness led to the creation of certification systems like Fair Trade and Rainforest Alliance. These systems were born from good intentions, but they often failed to dismantle the systemic power of the cartel. Achieving these certifications costs money. The poorest farmers can often not afford. Paradoxically, the standards designed to help the poorest often become a barrier, favoring slightly wealthier, more organized cooperatives. While fair trade sets a minimum price, that minimum is often still far below what the farmer needs for a decent quality of life. Acting more as a safety net during severe market crashes, often engineered by the cartel. It provides relief, but not prosperity. For the global trading giants, participating in these ethical programs is a form of risk management and excellent PR. They can point to their sustainable sourcing, while the vast majority of their volume cheap and industrial coffee is still sourced through the old, brutal price suppression methods. The ethical label becomes a mirage, distracting consumers from the massive, unethical operations supporting it. The real solution isn't a sticker on a package. It's breaking the cartel's monopoly on the futures market and helping grower nations build their own processing power. Every commodity we consume, coffee, sugar, bananas, cacao, follows this exact same playbook. It's a system designed to transfer wealth from the hands of the laborer and the environment directly into the coffers of a few invisible financial entities. Now, after listening to this, what will you think the next time you hold your morning cup? Remember, this is not just a conspiracy theory. This is a clear, documented financial playbook. The global commodity cartel operates in the shadows, using your daily consumption habits to fuel their endless financial growth. They profit from volatility. They profit from poverty. And they profit from your ignorance. The power to disrupt this system is simple. Conscious consumption. We must demand transparency and support the few organizations actively working to cut out the middlemen and shift the profit margin back to the source. If this deep dive research made you rethink your morning ritual, and you want us to expose more systemic secrets like this, please hit that subscribe button. By liking the video, you help this information reach more people. Until we lift the curtain on the next global secret, may your conscience be clear, even if your coffee isn't. Goodbye.